All right. So it's a pleasure for me to have Mike on stage, and so I'll take the pleasure to introduce him. Michael Egorov of Curve is a top-tier fintech founder, developer, and pioneer. Founded the Curve protocol in 2020. He earned his PhD in physics from Swinburne University of Technology in Melbourne, Australia, and his experimental physics approach has created the foundation for Curve's innovation and success. Welcome to Stablecoin Summit, Michael.
Yeah.
All right. All right. First question: romance between Curve and stablecoins. BIS, the Bank for Central Banks, and MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, collaborated on Project Mariana, cross-border exchange of wholesale CBDCs using automated market makers. Last year, they published the final report detailing how CBDCs can leverage AMM technology and reference it to your Curve 2021 paper. A BIS-MAS joint report referencing a native DeFi protocol is quite an endorsement of our industry. Can you walk us through Curve's founding story and how stablecoin swaps played a role? Was there a particular aha moment when the Curve inspiration hit you?
Right. Yeah, so it was indeed an interesting story how everything was created. The idea of what exactly to do came to me in September 2019 approximately. And I basically at the time I was a user of MakerDAOs. I was borrowing DAI, which was single collateral DAI at the time, and I didn't want to sell ETH, so I borrowed it against ETH and swapped it to USDC, which I redeemed to US dollars on Coinbase. And I didn't quite like the liquidity which DAI had. Whether off-chain or on-chain doesn't matter, it just wasn't good. And generally, stablecoin liquidity was not great. And a little bit before, I was thinking about essentially liquid staking, which is also like stablecoins pretty much. Although there were no liquid staking derivatives at that time, but it was pretty obvious that this will be a trend. So I was really thinking about this topic.
And you were converting DAI to USDC?
Yes.
Uniswap?
No, actually at the time, on Uniswap, it was Uniswap 1. You could only swap to Ethereum, so it's not very efficient. There was Oasis exchange on chain, which is basically an order book, which kind of worked, but not super great. And of course, there was liquidity on Coinbase itself, and it was all not very good even for small amounts. Yeah, so I figured out the math for stablecoin swap, which is just doing concentrated liquidity, but it had to be also more or less efficient in smart contracts. So, in approximately October 2019, I finished implementing the first version of the smart contract. And
before writing the white paper?
Yeah, no, I think I wrote the white paper. I think it was maybe around November when I wrote it. But anyway, I wrote it when I already implemented the code. And in late December, it was already like both front-end code and smart contract. And in January, in the beginning of January, I deployed the smart contract and basically announced it on January 10th, 2020. So that's how it was. And of course, not many people knew about this very new exchange. But you don't really have to have people know about that, because you can drive the traffic for swaps from aggregators, and 1inch already existed. They actually moved with integrations really fast at that time. So I talked to them, and in a few days it was already plugged into the 1inch. So you could have some swaps going before even like this was announced, before everything in UI, because they just exchanged it with smart contract. For them, it's like there is no risk because they can check what minimum amount they get out. So that's naturally we drive the exchanges through open source, closed source contracts, or like whatever that is. For them, it's really matter because it already provides very useful traffic. But then, of course, one needs to have people depositing, but that also started happening. So in maybe a week, there was about 500,000 TVL already, and right now it doesn't look much, but at the time it looked huge, and it already worked better than anything anywhere else than Oasis Exchange or Coinbase or Binance for stablecoin to stablecoin swaps.
So it was quick for you to realize that you have prop market.
Yeah, well, I was a DeFi user already, so it was something I needed. And
the problem statement was stablecoins to stablecoin swaps.
Correct.
Originally,
yes.
Your original product, problem statement.
Yeah.
Great, thank you for that story, Michael. Now let's move on to question 2. Growing the CRD USD. This is the Stablecoin Summit, so we'll talk about your stablecoin. To grow CRD USD's market cap, you'll need to grow the number of people who will need to hold CRD USD. They can't just want to use CRD USD to convert to another stablecoin. Instead, they must have reasons to hold on to CRD USD. For example, plenty of people, especially in emerging markets, need USD stablecoins for their stable store of value. But compared to existing stables such as USDT or USDC, CRD USD doesn't yet have an advantage. At Extrax, we observe our big traders needing to hold USDT because it's the best medium of exchange for trading. USDT quoted markets give them the best liquidity. We also observe that cross-border merchants in emerging market demand USDT and hold on to them because many suppliers accept USDT as a payment method. So perhaps an even bigger way to grow CRD USD is to have it become a unique medium of exchange, so that to access certain financial services or to pay certain suppliers of goods or services, people somehow must use CRD USD. For a CDP-based stable, such as CRD USD, let's define the supply side as borrowers minting CRD USD, and the demand side as people needing to hold CRD USD. You've incorporated innovative liquidation and buyback mechanisms into CRD USD, making it much more attractive for borrowers. If borrowers appreciate this, your supply side will grow, right? So it's good to grow the supply side with the design. But Michael, what's your vision for driving CRD USD's demand side growth? Are you growing CRD USD more as a stable store value or more as a medium of exchange?
Right. Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, very good to understand how it works.
Thank you.
Indeed, there are two sides, and the borrower side is at the moment something where people pay a really good premium for the feature of soft liquidation, or recently it was actually called a liquidation transaction, which is, I think, a good name to it. So anyway, people are ready to pay maybe almost twice as high a borrow rate than what the market rate is. And that's really good. But how to make the supply side grow? So I think we somehow actually, this borrow rate is actually higher than the market supply rate at the moment as well. So why don't we share this borrow rate with the depositors of CRV-USD to make some sort of state CRV-USD? And in that case, we can it can be work as a flywheel, at least at least while the market supply rate is smaller than the borrow rate which borrowers are willing to pay. And at the moment, this seems to be true. So, looks like we just need to do it. We just need to make stakes CRV-USD, and this will start the flywheel and explore where this demand where we wouldn't be capped.
Got it. I agree. That would definitely be a good strategy to kickstart the flywheel effect.
Right. And if you do that, then stake CRV-USD becomes a more interesting collateral for maybe borrowing something else against it. That's one thing. It's an interesting thing to hold, and probably more interesting thing to integrate just because of its yield. So it's the yield is making it more attractive for adoption, something like that. But it's not like something unique. It was done before with different stablecoins. It's just at the moment the numbers probably completely a little bit higher than what we have in the market. So that's what we tried for because of this algorithmic advantage.
Right. So I really like the velocity aspect, the medium change aspect of the stablecoin or money, right? Just like the US dollar now, it's the medium of exchange for a lot of things. For a lot of things, you just have to buy through the US dollar. Once you get that status, you really kickstart the velocity, right? People are just using your money. And because they're using your money, you stop having to pay them yield, but you get that demand side to grow. So do you have a vision as to ultimately how would you do that with CRV-USD? Like grow the velocity and maybe grow it it's into some type of medium exchange to access, like you have to use CRV-USD to access certain services.
Well, it's more of a business development question, I would say. But apart from that, it is possible to embed CRV-USD in different sorts of liquidity pools. So maybe these liquidity pools get some advantage from having CRV-USD in there, then it would just drive CRV-USD to be more used. For example, it is possible to boost crypto pools to have them rebalancing concentrated liquidity, where this loss from rebalancing, which is inevitable, is subsidized from yield, which is CRV-USD, which is sitting in this particular pool makes. And then actually overall the system will be making more money than just CRV-USD.
That's smart. Yeah, that's a good narrative.
Right. So, but that's also like a purely technological narrative. That could be many business development narratives. I'm just more of a technologist myself, so that's why I'm saying more technological narratives.
All right, moving on. Navigating the new regulatory landscape today, stablecoin issuance and listing have much better regulatory clarity, especially in regimes such as Singapore, Europe, Japan, Hong Kong, and the US. What's your strategy to keep CRV-USD listed on centralized exchanges, digital wallets, and payment apps, or are you planning a pure DeFi path?
Well, of course, there should be certain DeFi aspects which I think should be kept in the CRV-USD. For example, I don't think it's a good idea to include any sorts of any block lists or whatever in a decentralized stablecoin. So it should be decentralized and shouldn't be centrally managed by anyone. Because I think if it's centrally managed by someone, then it's already like a centralized financial organization which attracts all sorts of compliance requirements. And obviously, this is necessary for redeemable stablecoins like USDC or USDT. Right? They are custodying the funds, so compliance is just needed to make sure that funds are simply there. But there are also other compliance requirements which come with that. But if the algorithm is ensuring the safety of the funds and no one can intervene that, then maybe it's better to keep it that way.
Got it. Thank you, Michael. Last question, next 12 months. You've always said that you build systems to solve big problems that you yourself face. In your personal experience, what are today's big unresolved pain points in the global financial system or in DeFi? What are you particularly passionate about solving, and what should we look forward to from you in the next 12 months?
Yeah, I think one of the problems in DeFi is how to sustainably make good liquidity for basically stable coins of different denomination.
Interval.
Yeah, like between USD and Euro and so on.
Right.
And of course, you can do it sustainably if there is a lot of if there are really many exchanges more than just arbitrage. But you cannot count on that happening all the time. So if you embed a certain exchange to for certain application, so it's let's say it's using only one exchange rate instead of multiple, then maybe that exchange will be very sustainable. But if you just always drive the exchange traffic to the most optimal place, not necessarily it will be the case. And question is how to make it sustainable to provide liquidity for that sort of exchange at all times. So that's one thing to be solved, I guess. And another one, which is similarly completely different, but actually very much related, is how to eliminate what's called impermanent loss. Well, for me, impermanent loss is actually not a loss. It's just a property of liquidity. It's just you're just like holding a different sort of asset. But for many people, it's considered like a loss, and I think it's possible to do something, but it's not of course not by compensating impermanent loss with tokens which you print out of thin air, but with something more fundamental. And that's, I think, another thing which is not currently solved and which can be solved, I think.
That's definitely a big unresolved problem for me personally. Okay. Look forward to your product. And with that, we're out of time. Michael, thank you very much. I thank you for having us.